What is up, and welcome to the Beyond Kicks podcast. This one's weird.
It's the first on-the-road podcast we've ever done. We are in Anaheim, SneakerCon LA, and we got a special guest that appeared on our 13th episode ever, Andy Dutton.
What's up, fellas?
The boy.
Yep. And if you're listening to this, hop on YouTube because we got a sick backdrop of the Anaheim Convention Center. It's getting a little dark, so we'll see how good camera picks that up, but we figured we had to. We're all exhausted from the event.
Dude, facts.
But
Seriously.
there's a lot of thoughts to take away from it, so we figured we'd jump on for an hour and just talk about it.
I love it. Without that, let's roll the intro, baby.
Boom.
He knows it.
He gets it. All right. Dude, it was a long 2 days, I'm not going to lie.
Dude,
We've been in that building for like hours and hours. Charlie longer than all of us.
Yeah, I think Charlie grinded a lot longer than both you and I did. So.
I was getting paid to do it, so I don't.
Yeah.
I literally saw Charlie 2 or 3 times a day, and every time it was just, hey, yeah, I'm good. Oop, gotta go, bye. He's like so dialed in.
Shout out to John Carlo from Good. We'll get him on the podcast eventually, but he's buying and selling on whatnot, so it's all a quantity game. So he's buying as many pairs as he can for as cheap as he can. So we're running around to every table and buying everything. So
Dude.
it is interesting though, because I mean, I know you have never been to a sneaker con. You've never been to this one. Seth's never been to the Anaheim one, and this is my 3rd or 4th year being here, and this was by far the smallest event, which is interesting. I want to get your thoughts on it, both of you.
Well, it's kind of crazy too that you say it's the smallest, because this is, like you said, my first sneaker con ever. I've been to a couple of other events.
Yeah.
And this was the biggest event that I've been to, so like I can't imagine.
There's levels, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely levels, but like you were saying earlier when we were talking that like last year, a couple of years ago, that they had to open up one of the other sides.
The first year I ever came, which honestly I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 years ago, but the line was so long that the fire marshal said they had to rent the next building. And then I might have to overlay some footage, but the line went down and back like 10 times. And the line didn't stop until the doors were closed, which the line was done filtering in at about 12:30 today, which that just tells you all you need to know, really.
Yeah, it was kind of slow early on. I felt like it kind of picked up a little bit later in the day. Like maybe more people were pulling through, but yeah, I mean, I still thought it was pretty cool. I mean, coming from a first-time perspective, like most sneaker events are just a bunch of tables of people trying to, sell their shoes, but it was cool to see a lot of like companies like show up and pull through here. Like what was the slides company that had like those like
Umi?
Yeah,
They had some cool stuff, I'm not gonna lie.
that was cool to see it. And then like obviously Rejuvenator, shout out Nick, you're the man.
Yep, it was fun
Nick
seeing
was
him
crushing
again.
it,
Yeah,
dude.
I love Nick. Seeing Rejuvenator here, and then just seeing like, I don't know, just a lot of different types of vendors here, not just solely shoes and like merchandise. Like there was a lot of other cool stuff going on.
It was just crazy. And the diversity. I feel like it was just everything. It wasn't like, oh, every vendor is just clothing.
Right.
It was, dude, did you see that one guy who had his, I can't think of the name of the company off the top of my head, but it was like he created his own shoe and they literally had water in the insoles.
No, I didn't
And
see
that was
that.
like his whole thing. They were actually really cool.
Was
I
it like-
connected with the guy,
crazy.
had his
Interesting.
contact. He's like, once I get like the prototypes, all that stuff done, because he had like 3, 6, whatever on display, and he's like, once I get one, I'll send it to you and you'll check it out, do whatever you need to do. And I was like, this is so cool.
That's cool.
The 3D printed slides, like,
I feel like there's a lot of up-and-coming, really small companies like Omni, the slide company. You even have like, I mean, Mischief was that at one point. Now they're
Huge.
Big Red Boot, put them on the map, but there's other companies like that that are doing really interesting stuff. When we were talking with Alan, who's one of the founders of SneakerCon, and it's really a time of innovation because market's down, the economy's down, there's not as many people in the game as there was even 2 or 3 years ago. So it's cool seeing companies like that pop up with, I didn't see those, but I bet they were really cool.
Dude.
Yeah, there's just, I feel like it's like you pointed out when we were standing, it's like Seth's wearing Sauconys.
That was the craziest moment.
Alan was like, we're all standing just talking about like the state of sneakers, and he's like, yeah, Nike's kind of on downfall, and we look down, he's got Air Max 1s on. And then Seth had the Beamas on, I had the House Studios. You got the New Balance. Are those the Joe Fresh Goods?
Yeah, it's
one of the originals.
First collab 992s.
So yeah, it's It's interesting. What are your guys' thoughts on prices? Do you guys ask around about anything?
Yeah, I was hunting. So day one, I was looking around, just kind of see what people had, and just kind of see what kind of spoke to me. I guess it's kind of a weird way because people always ask like, "What are you looking forward to sneaker event? What shoes?" Like, I don't know. I'll know when I'm there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a different experience when you see the shoe in person. You get to touch it, you get to feel it, you get to see the materials, the quality of those materials. Like when the trophy room won lows dropped like on sneakers and then like boutiques and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, those look okay, but we just got the black toes. I don't need those. And then seeing them in person.
Very similar.
Yeah, very
That's
similar.
true.
But then when you see them in person, all the different materials and
The
then like
swooshes,
the quality,
embroidered.
the box and all the little goodies that comes with it, I was like, okay. I think I'm going to try and get myself a pair of these. So then I was looking around at different places trying to find my size, and I checked StockX obviously for like last sale price, and I got a pair for $385, and I was like,
Yeah, you told me about that. That's pretty
happy.
solid.
I'm pretty happy with that price because StockX with fees and stuff, the buy now, I think I would have been paying like almost $440. So I was pretty happy with that, and that's a pair that like, again, I wouldn't have known how good it was unless I saw it in person.
It's a
So
big
I'm
thing.
super happy to have them. Want to try and do some cool photos of that with the box.
I know
and
you
all
will.
the goodies. And stuff.
Especially with all the goodies, you've been getting good at that.
Goodies are fun, man. That kind of adds a little extra
Dude.
flair to the pictures. So
It was just pricing for me. There were a lot of shoes I picked up that I've never seen in person that I really like just wanted to see. Almost everything I wanted was like under 300 for the most part. And I
Like,
was
talk
like,
about some examples.
a ton of like random Asics, New Balance, like recent collabs, like the
Collabs or
the
GRs?
Kith, like the Kith.
yeah, I saw the Kith Asics, the 12.1
not the
Kayanos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those not
Undefeateds,
bad.
there was a lot of those pairs.
Yeah, all were like around 240, 250.
they're pretty
which,
reasonable.
I mean, it's a lot, but it's not crazy for what it is. And there was just, I don't know, a lot of diversity. And I feel like that's the first sneaker con I went to where it wasn't only Dunks, only Jordan 4s.
Which there is a
Only
lot of
Jordan
that, but
ones.
yeah, there was
There was,
definitely more
but-
variety.
Almost every table there was something different, which I loved.
yeah, I thought it was cool too because you see like a lot of tables have the recent stuff from this year, like
Yeah.
the Reimagined 4s. You got the Canary Travises,
True.
and the Futura Dunks, and like I saw tons of those. Like it boosts, I get that, but I thought it was cool that there was such a wide variety of like tables that had some older SBs and like
Those are
some
some
older.
good-
That's the
Deep
best part about
cuts,
Sneaker
dude.
Con is
Yeah.
finding stuff like grails. Like there's the grail booths that have
crazy,
like
crazy
self-lacing
stuff.
Air Mags and like the crazy stuff you never
Insane.
see in person. But
Well,
that's
even, like,
the fun
The
part.
friends and family Futuras, like seeing
Yes.
there was a bunch of
Multiple
people that
pairs.
had those, and
Multiples.
I was like, "Whoa, these are crazy!" Because seeing those in hand, like if you guys have seen it online, like the
Yes.
colors are wild, but like even in some of like the stripe details, there's stitching within the painting on there.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh
You
my
can see
gosh,
the paint splatters
cool.
on it,
Oh,
the
it's
layering.
beautiful, such a
Mhm.
beautiful shoe,
Dude.
and obviously that's one I'll never own in my life because my wife would murder me if I spent that much on a pair of shoes. So
Never know.
yeah.
On
can talk to it for
pricing,
me.
how was pricing on y'all's end since you were with Blazendary buying a lot? How was that?
Yeah, I
looking?
mean, he bought a couple hundred pairs. I don't know the exact number, and what you think is a low ball, take another 30% off of that, and that's what he's offering.
Yeah.
Which it's interesting. My mindset of lowballing is like completely changed after watching him, because it's like when you go buy one pair and it's like, let's say they're asking $300 for a House Studio collab, and you're like, oh, I'll give you like $220, and they're like, nah, get out of here, and like he'll do that, but then it's buying a bunch of pairs, so then it works it down. So he'll maybe
So
get
more
them for
bulk.
180, but he's buying 30 pairs from the person. So pricing's different and stuff. But it was interesting because, I mean, $60 for Dunks, average price, like just regular GR stuff. Jordan 1 taxis he bought, I don't know, and don't tell him I said this, but he bought I don't know how many
He'll
pairs
never
of
know.
those for $60-$70, and like there's just so many pairs
That's
like that.
crazy.
But they're low, prices are low. I remember even going to Boston, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and it seems like the average sale price that we were buying stuff was like $100 a pair, and this was like $50-$60 a pair. It was like 50 day one and then 60 day two to get stuff locked up.
That's
and it's-
crazy.
Did you see that $100 table?
There was a couple of them.
He bought the whole table.
Dude.
That table.
I was looking at one today, the second day, he had Concepts 998 C notes, Fear of God basketball ones, tons of random New Balance, Glacier House Studios, all $100. And I was like, none were my size, so I was like, thank God. Because I can't fit all this in my luggage, but like...
He bought that whole table, nuts. And I can't say what he bought per pair, but it's real low. He bought the whole... It was 155 pairs.
The amount of families that were flooding those tables, just picking up everything. Like,
well, and I think that's
I was
cool.
Excited.
That, like, because I think a lot of times the misconception about these events is like, oh, all people are doing is selling hype stuff. Honestly, that's pretty innovative. I hope people...
This guy's skateboarding. You might have seen him in the background, but he's skateboarding with 2 packs of Monster and shoes.
That was one of the pro skaters that was skating today.
That makes
sense. They had a full Monster skate park set up.
That was dope.
And just so y'all know, this podcast is not sponsored by SneakerCon at all. I know it sounds like we're gassing it up, but it was really just cool, and we're just talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was unique because I think what I was saying before I got distracted by that awesome event of the skateboarder, that like my misconception that I came into this with is that there's always just this hype stuff that you see everywhere, which there is. Like people have like, you know, the Travises, you see Freddy Krueger dunks, you see all these things that are just like hanging out. Oh, did it stop?
No, I'm just upping the ISO. You can keep going. I'll cut this.
I'm just making sure it's still recording.
I was like, uh-oh, Cecily and Charlie's running. Something's happening.
No. Continue.
But I think my misconception with some of these events is that all you see is the big, like, super hype sneakers and that all people are wanting to do is buy that stuff. But for the common consumer, these $100 tables and then even some of the hype stuff, like I was pleasantly surprised that I was able to get the trophy rooms for that price, and then even some of the other prices on there too. I was trying to find a friend some of the Canary Travises, and even being able to talk with people about those things were pretty recently priced for the secondary market.
Yeah.
All things considered, so that was one of the bigger surprises that I got out of the event.
That's nuts.
I got another interesting thing. So Complex just did their mid-year sneaker of the year. Mm-hmm. AE1s, we gas them up all the time.
Yes.
I know you're a fan of them. Yes.
Isn't that funny?
I wore the McDogs day one. You wore the Stormtroopers day one.
Yeah.
Really interesting getting the sentiment around the pair, talking to people. There was nobody else wearing them.
It was just us.
There was no pairs for sale. I saw one pair of blue Velocities for sale in a size 10.
Yeah.
And it's kind of been the sneaker of the year. It's kind of with the marketing, all aspects of it. So I want to get you guys' take. Is that valid? Are we just very biased and we're like too into it and like too big of basketball fans like me and you? Like, it was interesting because a lot of it's GR dunks, a lot of it's like hype stuff, super expensive. And my initial thoughts was the people that are buying them are wearing them, and not selling them, and they're all sold out. But then I didn't see any today, which I figured I would over 2 days. The only pairs I saw on foot were ours over both days. So
that's true.
I think there's enough people that talk crap about wearing them casually that like maybe that deterred some people.
That's true.
Maybe it's not gotten there yet.
Maybe not, but you know, I think.
Which I didn't see any like Kobe's or anything. Now that I'm thinking about it, like typically you'll see people wear like Grinches.
I saw like one pair of Grinches.
Like one pair of reverse Grinches. Yeah. There wasn't a ton.
And I think the location that we're at has a factor into it too. But I didn't see any basketball shoes on foot really. So maybe that's a factor. But
and then maybe too, like I think like within sneaker culture, there's subcultures within sneaker culture as well. And so there's like. Just like, you know, the average consumer side that just wants to hit on stuff for retail and they don't want to pay resale prices at all. And then you have like sneaker events that is all about resale prices and reselling shoes. And so I mean, I haven't looked at resale prices of the AE1. I don't know what margins are like on those things, so I wouldn't.
Depends on the pair, but they're all north of 200.
Ones were going.
They're nuts. They're like $1,000.
Well, and even the original ones, the Georgia Peaches, like I looked at those the other day too. I was like, what?
Those are like $300.
Yeah. So, and I think we might be biased because we do like the AE1, but I think the reason that it is the sneaker of the year might not be because of its secondary value or the hype value. I think there's a lot of contributing factors to it because, one, Anthony Edwards had a hell of a season this year.
That was a big one.
Breakout season.
Big time.
Adidas absolutely killed it in their marketing. And then the performance of the shoe for people who hoop in it was like, I hoop in mine once a week and I love them. Like, I don't think I'll wear another.
I've played in them once. I was a fan of them.
They're great. And then casually, like, it's something new. Like, I feel like it's almost like a second coming of foam posits in a way. Like, the way that it looks and the way that
and it's just fun to wear.
It is. Like,
every time I wear them, always gets a look. Yeah. I always feel good about it. Dude, I was getting in the hotel after SneakerCon yesterday, wearing the AE ones. A dude with his family, as the like doors were closing, he like looked down and he looks at me and he goes,
"Yeah,
oh yeah," gives
like
me the
if
nod.
You know, kind of.
And I was like, those. All right, you get it. Like, it's if you know, you know.
It'll be interesting to see what the lows do for that, because I feel like the lows are going to be easier for people to rock casually.
Like, it's going to be a second lifetime for the one. Like, it's. And it was interesting because I was talking to Seth. I think I was talking to you about this with the lows of the Jordan 1 lows in '85.
Yeah, yeah.
Where, because we were talking about the AE2s and like what's next. We've seen leaks for those, but like when I think of 1985, and it might be different for you, I think of the Jordan 1 high. Mm-hmm. The Jordan 1 low dropped in 1985, but I don't ever like think of that. But there was the midnight navies and the neutral grays or the natural grays back then. We were talking about the MX grays being the first low to drop. Do you think it's the right colorway to drop right off the bat versus like the Georgia Peach if they do a low of that, or like a USA colorway?
I feel like it's a tough time because like I don't recall when the lows of the Jordan 1s dropped, if it was during the season when Michael was wearing them or not. But I know like towards the tail end of this NBA season, you saw Ant wearing like the slime greens and
wore a ton of lows.
Yeah, he wore those a lot, and then a couple other colorways. I think he had some Stormtrooper lows, too, as well. Yeah. But, I don't know. I mean, this colorway of the low isn't my favorite. I was hoping for something like a solid color, but I still think vibrant. I still think it's dope, and I think the detail on the low that I mentioned it, I think, when I posted on, like, Threads or something. The toe, like the tongue is like a full-length tongue. It's not like that shorter tongue on the highs or the mids that like goes here and then it like weaves into like the sewn-in tongue. It's like a more traditional tongue. And I was like, that might be nice for more casual wear because they're kind of stiff to get on those first few times to wear casually.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah,
we'll get it. We'll all get them in soon. So
yeah, I bit the bullet.
We'll know in the next few weeks.
Yeah, seriously.
Exactly. Dude. We'll all know the next few weeks.
Yep.
On the same sort of note as like SneakerCon, what was the craziest pair you saw that you weren't expecting to see? Because I have one that really caught me by surprise.
Craziest pair. I mean, you have the stereotypical mags, and like Paris and Freddy Krueger's, but I feel like those have like kind of lost their nuance because you see them all the time.
At events.
You don't see them in person, but you see them at events all the time. So it's like, oh, yep, there's the
Freddy's.
Freddy's.
That's a shoe I'll never own.
Yeah, exactly.
Super expensive.
And then like the Dior's and stuff like that. But I think the one that like I was not expecting to see because the release was semi-recent were, again, the Friends and Family Futuras. And that's
a good one, dude.
There's a lot of those.
It's beautiful. I know I'm on that really hard right now, but it's just so beautiful. Like, it's just such a good-looking shoe.
It's so cool. What about you?
There's one pair that stands out, and solely because Giancarlo had never seen them ever in person.
Interesting.
Nike Air Mags, but not any Nike Air Mag, the self-lacing Nike Air Mags from 2016. So there's two pairs. There's a 2011 pair. You can get them for anywhere from, if it's a destroyed pair like the Whistle and Diesels, like $3,000, or like a pair that's pretty wearable, 10 to 15 grand. Pretty conservatively. Depends on who you're dealing with and what size, especially. The self-lacing pair, they took the Adapt technology in 2016 and wove it in. There's 100 pairs. They're all numbered. It's a crazy, the whole box open up. It's like a translucent thing in the middle with Tinker Hatfield signed it. It was pair number 79. 100,000 plus for the pair is what he was asking. They have a button on the inside to use the laces, and he's worn a pair of Air Mags to every SneakerCon for 8 years. He bought them for $3,000 the year they dropped. Like, he's had 8 pairs of Air Mags, and he's never seen a self-lacing one.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy because he's been to every SneakerCon for 8 years, and he's never seen one. So that was, like, the fact that he's never seen them, I knew they existed, but, like, there's 100 pairs, and all the pairs are in collector hands. So that was a that was a wild one. It was late. It was
That's
end of day
crazy.
1. We saw those. So
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
let me guess the one for you.
You can probably guess it.
The Jordan 4 RM.
Ooh, that wasn't even the one I was thinking of.
Really?
Yes.
That one.
That one.
Did you see those?
I didn't see him.
Dude.
I saw you share him on your story.
I
but-
saw you posted that, and I went and searched the exact spot, and I was like, he's not at a booth.
You know the crazy. It got crazier. So I saw him just walking with the pair, and I was like, "That's crazy." So I stopped him. I was like, "Yo, can I take a look at these?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he was telling me the story. He's like, "Yeah, I was at the Nigel Sylvester thing like yesterday, 2 days
I looked
ago."
at
No
his-
freaking way, because I saw like, who's it? Jordan Kaiser. He does photography for like Packer and Goat
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. He's out in New York. He
And
photographed
Ralph
it.
Romeo was doing
Yeah, and
stuff
Ralph
too.
was doing some stuff too. And so I was like, this dude was out at the event yesterday.
So you tagged him.
my
I
gosh.
looked at the guy's story, and it was him at the event, him getting the pair, and then him on a plane, and then him at the event. And I was like, what in the world?
Oh my gosh.
So he got 2 pairs. His wife works at Delta. So
Okay.
he's able to sort of fly and everything. So that's how he made it make sense. Because I was like,
what?
what are you doing? And before that, he was at the Eminem release thing, too, with Complex.
Oh,
I don't
the
know where that
merch
was
that
at.
they were doing,
Yeah,
yeah, for his
he was at
album.
that,
He's
too.
living the life, man.
But
Jeez, yeah. Mr. Worldwide.
apparently, this guy lives like 30 minutes down the street from me.
What?
the
and I
same
was-
guy?
Yeah.
No way.
Because I was just talking to him, and I was like, where are you from? He was like, Atlanta. And I was like, what? And you're out here? And he was like, well, yeah, Delta. You know, I got the connection.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can fly wherever. And I was like, that's crazy. And then we just connected on Instagram, looked at everything. We have like 30 people,
Small world, man.
mutuals, like all in
Small
Atlanta.
world.
And I was like, yo, that's crazy. So I definitely have to connect with him when I get back home. But that blew my mind. Quality on that shoe. It's
Do you
everything.
know what size
want
he
it to
had?
be. He had a 10.
Was he selling it?
Yeah, he was only asking like 350, but they're going for like
Probably.
9.8 on StockX, I think, right now.
Wait till they
I
drop.
scooped my pair early for $380.
Of course you did.
I have
You
to
got a
like
pair?
on StockX, yeah.
Oh, you
I'm-
dog,
I
dude.
can't. Like I'm trying. Like I was like, I'm gonna miss out on that release. I have like this pre-release anxiety sometimes. Like if prices are decent, I'm just gonna buy it now, and then if I get
I
it on
feel
release, then I
that,
have
yeah.
to.
Because that day, if you miss it,
I've gotten eaten up on a few. I bought Crenshaw dunks for $550 early.
Yeah.
And then I just sold them on eBay for $220.
Oh, boy.
So I got content out of them, but yeah, I've gotten eaten on a few of them, and that was like a year and a half ago. So like the market was different, where
yeah.
stuff was high, but now it's like pre-release. Like the 85 metallic reds were under retail
Oh, dude, those
pre-release.
And I hit on a boutique through like Soul Savvy.
Yep.
Like when they
Oh,
shared,
shout out
like,
Soul Savvy, dude.
yeah,
Their
shout out
early
Soul
links is
Savvy for that
crazy.
one.
We're gassing them
and
the other day, dude.
Yeah.
and I got those for retail. I'm like, sick retail. Then I see the prices, like,
No.
I could get these for like
No.
120.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Oh, man.
All right, but the pair.
Yeah, sorry.
Travis Scott white parties.
Oh, dude,
You
I
saw
saw.
the
I
pair?
didn't get to touch them.
Well, they don't want you to flip the thing over
But
and see
I was
whose
like
initials it was.
there, and he was like showing them, and I was like,
Yeah.
no way. He opened up the briefcase.
Did you get any photos or anything of him?
No. I was like,
I know-
not
I know
even
So
paying
Loco
attention.
guys did.
I
Yeah,
literally
they
saw
did.
their
I was
video
talking with
right after.
Yeah, 'cause
And I was like,
talking.
I don't know,
Who was I
man.
talking to? Someone. I can't remember. There's so many
Yeah.
people. Talking with one of the people who saw him, and they like put sticky note over the lace lock, and then they put like a sticky note over the insole so that they wouldn't like give
Yeah.
away who it was. It's like the people that were invited to that party. Why are you selling that? Like you don't need that money.
Well,
You
maybe
don't.
they're living the fake lifestyle. You never know.
I guess.
Which
man.
I
Doesn't
thought they were going
matter.
for like 50, 100 grand. They're like 15 to 20, I think.
I think he said 20.
That's
which-
still crazy.
And I'm like,
It's crazy, but like you think of like invite only, and then you add Travis Scott to it, and then you add it's an all white, and then you have the briefcase, and then you have
what,
the initials of
350
like
pairs?
Leonardo DiCaprio. Like you never
Well,
know. who cares.
right,
Like,
dude. I guess it depends on the That's a great question.
maybe the celebrity
If it
wasn't it
depends-
someone anyone knew.
Depends on the celebrity. If it was like a higher caliber
I guess,
celebrity,
yeah.
would the resale value go up higher?
Well, I know that Travis Scott and Michael Rubin, they said, and I don't know if this is spot on, but I know that they said if they found anyone, they were going to get, like, banned from Hollywood if they found anyone sold them. So
Interesting.
I'm sure the people that bought them signed NDAs and, like, all this, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's probably levels to it. But that's crazy that you saw those.
It was one of those that I was like, huh? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
what is this
like-
all white Travis Lowe?
That's like a thing.
Well, and that blows my mind that, like, even seeing, like, people have those, like, who do you talk to get crap like this?
I don't know,
like,
dude.
There's levels.
Yeah.
I had to finesse
I'm
to see
like,
it too, bro. Like,
underneath my shoes in that level. Like, I don't know anybody who's getting stuff
And that's
like that.
something that, like, knowing John Carlo and Blazonary, like, I did the wear test on the Wings 85s. I didn't think, like, they released in Japan at the time. They had the LA one, which I'm disappointed I didn't get the invite to and get a fair after I wore mine.
Crazy.
But anyways, they had the Japan event, and I was like, what would be a good wear test? And so I found that pair. I was like, hey, do you know anybody that has this? And within 8 minutes, he hung up the phone. He texted somebody in Japan. He had a pair in my size, and they were shipping to him that day. And I had them in my hand in Minnesota a week later. They shipped to New York, and then he shipped them to me.
That's wild.
And I was like, I don't even know how this happened.
That's nuts.
And it's like he's been in the game forever, and I think it's one of those deals. And then there's like the tables we saw that they have like all the Freddies and like Paris's, like their clientele is like the highest of highs that actually can afford that stuff. But
That's wild.
There's levels. It's actually crazy. A lot of this stuff.
Yeah, like, it blows my mind the levels that people have, like, with that kind of stuff. It's like, I'm just a casual collector. Like, I got some stuff in my collection, but it's not like...
You have some, like, we have samples and, like...
Yeah, but it's not like I'm never going to have anything like that because I don't have the cash flow to do it.
Not
Even
at
if
all.
I did, I don't even know if I could ever bring myself to do that.
Well, then it's like you get...
Let alone wear them.
That's
Oh,
the thing
gosh.
is, like, you can't wear them because then it's just burn 20% of the value.
Yeah. It's like, unless I have that much disposable income, then, yeah. Or if it's like I'm one of those people that, you know, OG hit on my Red Octobers, like, for retail way back in the day. Cool, I'll wear those, but, like, I ain't dropping money to wear something like that. Like,
100%.
yeah, it's crazy.
Same boat.
What's the craziest pair you got in your collection? Because we haven't talked in 60 episodes,
it's
a
been a
year and a
minute.
half.
Seriously.
Dude, like,
And I know it's gotten different because now you're working with some big companies and doing product photography. And
yeah.
shout
No,
out to him. He sent me some Justin Jefferson.
I knew you would, like, as soon as I got those in, I was like, I think Charlie's going to
Those
appreciate
are one of the
these more
holy
than I
grails
would,
in my
so.
collection. So, yeah, I know you get some crazy stuff. Give us like a couple of them that are like
Like,
special to you or like really rare.
yeah, that's the thing too, because, like, I feel like collections are so personal.
Yeah.
100%.
Because what people value, what I value is going to be different than what you guys value or what someone else values.
For sure.
And I'll give you guys a couple pairs, but if anyone follows me on social media, the pair that, like, caught my attention as a child was the Laney 5s back in the day, the 2000.
Yeah.
I've
like,
seen a lot of
release.
photos of you in those.
Dude, I freaking love those shoes. And, like, so little nerd out moment, but the difference between the 2013 and the 2000 pair. The 2013 pair has, like, kind of a neoprene tongue. It's more of like almost like a satin tongue, a little bit puffier. The heel Jumpman logo on the back is black embroidered, but everything else on the shoe is pretty much the same. The 2000 pair has, like, almost like a nubuck tongue with the embroidered Jumpman logo, and then a worse embroidered job on the heel, but it's blue to match the rest of the blue on the Laneys. Anyway, I picked those up. Some dude on eBay had them. I knew they were going to be crumbling, but the uppers were immaculate, so midsole's crumbled. I'm in the works of getting those things sole swapped.
that's
and that's
awesome.
like, I couldn't be happier to have that pair, like, in my collection, just because it's just so sentimental.
We
to
need
me.
a retro of those.
They do. That is a pair that they need to, but then I'm going to be that guy, that old head that's like, you didn't do it right. Like, it's got
It ain't the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. The shape's off. You didn't do the same.
Because you
shitty
know they'll
embroidery on the
mess
heel.
it up. They'll
Yeah.
do something off.
But, you know, they've done a good job with some of the more recent ones, so maybe they'd get it right. But then some of the other crazy pairs that I was able to pick up recently, like StockX reached out and wanted me to do a promo for their midweek heat. And so the
That's
midweek heat
sweet.
was these bad boys, my Joe Fresh
That's
good
some heat.
992s.
So you just recently got those?
Yeah, I got those.
They look fresh.
Yeah, no pun intended there.
Literally. Exactly.
But that was
Dude.
cool to do that, because, like, that's a pair. I love what Joe Freshgoods is doing with New Balance. I have almost every single one of the ones that he's done so far, and, like, that one I was like, yeah, I'm not spending that money on those. There's just no way.
Well, those are like 1,000, aren't they?
It was like, in my size, like, I looked at after they sent it to me, because they took it down, and that was last sale. I think it was like 22.
What?
Oh my
on there.
gosh.
It was stupid. It was
Did they give you
ridiculous.
an option between a few sneakers?
They did.
Because
So
they just reached out to me about doing that as well.
yeah. So did they give you options?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, they gave me options with these and the Jound Cayano 14s, and I was like, that's a no-brainer. Like, I'm going to get the Joe Freshgoods pair.
Yeah.
Mine was the Jound Cayanos, and honestly, I can't even remember the other shoe, but it wasn't anything that I really wanted.
Yeah. You're a colors
But
guy
I love
too.
the
Yeah.
Cayanos, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, bring
I'll
them
get
on.
those ones.
Bring them on.
And maybe
all
that's why
day.
they gave it to you, because I was like, no,
Honestly,
here,
probably.
Cayanos, you can have
They
them.
were like, we still have a Cayano and a 9.5. What do we do with this?
Exactly.
I hope he wears a 9.5. And I was like, give them to me. But yeah, so I'm excited for that. Cause
That's cool. Yeah, these, like,
those are
I would have
slick.
never have gotten these beforehand, and they're great. I mean, pair that started him and his, journey.
I've never
with
even
New
had
Balance.
that model.
No.
I never did either before
Like,
this.
Wait, is that the 991?
992.
Too.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they were pretty big in like 18, 19, and
Because
20.
I tried on a few pairs in Foot Locker.
I've had the
and I could
991.
just never do it. I
Yeah.
don't know. They were like bigger.
They're a little thicker.
The midsole is
Midsole's
really
just a little
thick,
bit thicker.
and I was like, at the time, like, I don't know about all this. Like,
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Now I feel like I would rock them, but bring them back.
yeah.
bring 'em back.
They'll probably let them rest for a while because they
I
hit them
like
pretty hard for a while.
1906 time.
It- oh
I
my
like
gosh,
that New
1906
Balance
time.
does that though.
They do.
They go in waves. They ride it out hard for like a year, then
See,
they
a
let
year.
it sleep.
Not
A full year.
4 or 5 years Nike with your dunks.
Which
This
year was the 1906. Last year was 990 V3. I would kind of say
Yeah.
it was like the 990 series.
And then
2002
2002
Rs.
Rs
Yeah.
were kind of on the tail end last year.
lot too many protection packs, tank the market,
Oh
my
gosh,
which
yeah,
I don't mind because I
they're-
wear mine all the
They're
time.
beautiful. I love
Need a
those.
fresh pair.
Yeah.
But
But then a couple other pairs, like I was talking with Charlie, I think before, saying I wanted to wear my
You've
Prowler
done that a few. You've
Jordan
teased
ones.
those a few times.
I know. I've thought about it every time I think about it. I'm like, no.
The
like,
Spider-Man Friends and Family.
yeah,
Jordan
the friends
one.
and family Prowler.
I saw that on your
Jordan
story,
ones.
and I was like, "Is he gonna do it?"
I was like, if I do it, I need to get like some sole shields on those because the coolest part of the shoe is the
Yeah.
sole, and so I wanted to
That would
protect that
stress
at
me
all
out.
costs.
Have you
but
worn those at all?
just for
Besides the try-ons for the
just
photos?
for shooting photos, that's it. So I don't know. Maybe I got to find something to wear those to because I want to. But yeah, that pair was cool. Being able to do that, and shout out Soul Savvy.
How did
again for
that come
one.
about? I'm curious.
So Soul Savvy did the scavenger hunt for those in New
which
York.
they just did
which
the
they-
one.
Spazikes. Yeah. So
I'm
they
very
got.
jealous for the people that got those pairs because
Yeah,
those were
'cause
cool
those were
too.
tight.
I had to turn down an opportunity to do to go out and do that because family first, man.
You
My
can't-
kid
I-
was
I
my kid was
respect that.
graduating in his belt upgrade for karate, so I had to go for that. So I turned that down.
Respect.
Got to put good karma out there, so maybe something will come back later for that.
100%.
But
That's
yeah,
fair.
so Soul Savvy reached out when they were working with Jordan Brand in partnership for that scavenger hunt, and they're like, "Hey, Andy, we want you to do the photos of that shoe for it." I was like, "Okay, cool." And it was like, "What's your size? Because you'll get to keep them too." I was like, "What?" So I remember I was at like the splash pad with my kids when I was on the phone with them about it, and I was like, lost track of my kid. I was so like focused on this. I was like, "Yeah, okay." But the funny thing about those, I gave him my address. And so my address is 3 like numbers,
Mhm.
and I guess they forgot to put the first number on the shipping label. And so I checked UPS that they were delivered, and I was like, "Where are they? They're not on my porch. I don't see them on the Ring door cam." Like,
That is heart drops on that one.
fortunately, the UPS guy was on top of it and took a picture of the delivery, and I walked around my neighborhood like a porch pirate and was
I've
trying
been
to
there.
match the
I've been
picture
there.
to my neighbor's doorstep, and then I scooped it up. They had a Ring doorbell, and I was like, "Hey, like, I'm not stealing this. This is mine. Like, thank you. I live down here. You can come talk to me later if you want to." So that kind of stressed me out, but was able to get those.
At least you got them in
That
hand.
was pretty cool.
Best case scenario though, because
Yes.
imagine,
Oh my
And
gosh.
just so everyone knows, they go for like $10,000
It's stupid.
roughly.
and there's only how many?
100.
100.
100.
Yeah. So
Are
that's
they numbered?
they're not numbered.
Really?
No, they didn't number.
I thought
the
they would be
inside.
numbered.
No, it just has the like on the Jordan 1 box, the label is just like your typical like PE or sample like
Oh,
label
okay.
on it, but there's nothing on the shoe that numbers it.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a shoe that you're not gonna see, so you know what it is.
I see them pop up on Instagram for sale every once in a while, and it's always like,
yeah,
whoa.
Yeah, so that's probably like the coolest like high level shoe that I own, is that. And then other grail that I was looking for a while, my guy Charlie here hooked me up with my Cause Force. So he was selling those on his Instagram story, and I was like, I gotta have those.
Yeah,
I reached out pretty quick after he did that, and we worked a deal. So super stoked to have those.
I bought them. I was like, oh, I'll keep these for a while, and I wore them once, and they're in great wearable condition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a great personal pair because they're not brand new, but they're not beat up at all, and those are very delicate pairs.
Yeah.
And I wore them once, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, because I'm not loaded or anything.
Yeah.
So, like, to have $1,000 pair, just wear them once in a while, I was like, you know what? I don't think I'll wear them enough. Like, I really like looking at them, but it just was not the time for me to keep them for the long haul.
Right.
So I tossed them up and sent them your way. I'm glad they went to a good home because I'm not kidding. That pair is, like, immaculate.
Dude, they're in great condition.
Yes.
And like, shout out JSM 801. He sauced the soles up a little bit, got the glow back, and got some of the yellow out. So yeah, dude, thank you again for those. And now you created a problem because I want the black pair now, and so I was looking for those at the event today, and luckily no one had an 11, so my wife would actually let me home tomorrow.
I got a question for you. So it's I've seen in your comments.
Yeah.
How do you afford the sneakers? Being a teacher. I think it's first of all super cool. You bring kids into the sneaker world. You do design contests, all of that. People have seen you wear a different pair of shoes to school every day. But on the complex, it was like, no way this guy is affording this on a teacher's salary. And I'm just asking for the people. I mean, we know as friends and stuff, but I'm curious for the people to know.
I think it's funny because, like, I don't want to be that guy that replies to the comments and is just like eviscerate and dunk on people, you know?
Yeah, no,
like,
I mean, we get it. We're all creators. We get
yeah.
comments. I mean, it is what it is.
In the comments, I put like a nice, thoughtful, kind reply to tell somebody how like I did it,
which I've seen that.
And it was just like, I didn't buy them all at once. Like,
exactly.
I have over 220 pairs in my collection, and I've been collecting, like, actively collecting probably for like 7 or 8 years. And so, and when you're in the sneaker game long enough, like, you buy a pair, you'll wear it, and you're like, you know, I'm not really feeling this one anymore. You let it go, you get some money, and then you can roll that over into future pairs. So what I've done
You're
is
an underground reseller, essentially.
Yeah, I guess, man, it's crazy. But like, so what I've done is just so that I'm not spending, you know, money that comes in from my wife or I's salaries, I have a separate PayPal account that I fund all of my sneaker
you've told me
purchases
about
for. Yeah, and that's I feel like that keeps me accountable because it's so easy in the sneaker game, and I don't feel like it's talked about enough. Like, you don't want to go into debt for sneakers. It's not worth it.
Not at all.
Like,
no.
That is not one thing that you want to go into debt for. Go into debt for things that are going to appreciate in value. Like, then you can do so. Yeah, cool sneakers, but the sneakers isn't that kind of investment. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have the separate PayPal account, and so whenever I buy something, I'll buy it on my credit card. But then as soon as I do, transfer the money into my checking account, and then just pay it like right then and there. So that way I can be disciplined. It's like, oh, I really want this shoe coming out. I don't have enough money. Oh, well, I'm not feeling this shoe. I'm not feeling this shoe. Or I'll hustle up like some content like gigs and take a little bit of that money and put it into the sneaker fund.
And that's not something people think about is like us as creators, we're not the biggest on the platforms.
Yeah.
But when you work with 5 companies a month or you have retainer gigs where you're doing product photography and stuff like that, like there's income coming in, platforms pay out. I mean, there's a whole bunch of, as a creator, I know we all have multiple streams of revenue coming in, and maybe it's little here and there, but it adds up.
It does.
So when you're building a sneaker collection, that
it's a
paying
good
for itself if you think about it.
It does. Like, and I try, like, when I first started getting like paid content gigs on social media, my initial was like, oh, free sneaker money. I'm just going to spend all this on sneakers.
Exactly.
Like, irresponsible little kid here, you know?
Yep. So you got to pay taxes on it.
I know. And then, like, tax season hits. I'm like, oh, well,
exactly.
Oops. Yeah. So that was big eye-opening after, like, the first year where I actually started making some money. And then after that, it's like, okay, anytime something comes in now, it's easier to budget, so I'll set some aside for taxes, and then I'll like most of it goes towards just like stuff for like my family, honestly, because married, 2 kids.
I don't have any kids, but I'm married. I get it.
Yeah, I want to give my kids the best life so possible. So when my kids want to try stuff new and like do things, I try to keep that money on hand so that we can do fun things together as a family. And then I'll, skim a little bit that's left over and put it in the sneaker fund so that I can still, enjoy.
I mean, once you get
doing.
to a couple hundred pairs, then it's like you'll look at pairs and you'll be like,
Dude,
I have not worn these in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool pair, but I'll toss them on eBay. And there's a couple $100, and then it's like, here's my new pickup.
Exactly.
Here's the new AE ones I just got on StockX.
Exactly.
All that stuff. So.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, my collection's a revolving door. Like pairs come in, pairs go out, and it funds stuff, and that's just sneakers. And if you're in the sneaker game, like, you understand how that works. And if you're a personal collector, you understand how that works too, because you get rid of pairs that you no longer want or no longer like wearing anymore. Or you're getting older like me, and you don't want to wear
exactly
Dunks anymore, and you go to New Balance. So
and your style changes.
It does.
It's like,
yes.
Tastes change, and I think that's the joy of like when you get to a certain point in like sneakers, it's almost self-sustaining, because then you can think in your mind like what you want to get rid of to bring other pairs in, and it's fun to curate my collection like exactly how I want it to look.
Yeah.
That's individual to me, and it's been fun.
That's tight.
And I know Seth's been selling some pairs. How's that been going?
Sold 3 since we've been here,
There
which
you go.
has been fun.
That's nice.
I just tossed up like 30 or so pairs on eBay like 2 weeks ago. Maybe more, like 40.
You're skimming it down.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
just making space, man.
Yeah.
I've sold through like 25 already.
Dude, good.
And I'm like, okay.
It feels good, and like for me, I go in waves.
Yeah.
So it's like
yeah.
I'll be like, okay, I need to get rid of some stuff, and I'll go through. And it's like this gone, this gone, this gone, this gone.
I do
this
that
gone.
a lot.
And then like I'm like, oh crap, I don't think I wanted to get rid of those, but I already got rid of them. And then it's like, well, I guess I can always get that back later if I'm really having an itch
For
to
me,
wear
it's
it.
the second it sells on eBay, and then I put it in the box and I look at it and I'm like, but I do kind of like these.
You have that like the angel and the devil on your
Maybe I will
shoulder.
wear these, And then you're like, no, just close the box, close the box. Don't look at it. Don't think about it. It's fine.
You know what's something
If you
I've
want it, you
done
get it later.
is I just did this recently. I went through everything. Went through all, I don't know, a couple hundred pairs or whatever. Separated them out. And then I left them there for a couple of days. And I thought about it. I was like, so what pairs are in that pile that I want to keep? And without looking at the pile.
So you had to think about it without looking. Yeah.
I thought of 2 pairs out of 90. And I was like, all right, those are going. Like, I'm not thinking about it. I haven't worn them at all. Like, a lot of them are promo pairs and stuff like that. But, like, as gracious as companies are that send us stuff, like, I can't keep it all.
You don't have a warehouse. Like,
no, I don't. And I don't want to spend money to get a storage unit. It
Seriously,
just
yeah.
doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
I keep the stuff I wear, but that's what I've done is I put it in a different pile. I forget about it for a couple of days, and then I'm like, all right, what's there? I can't think of anything. And then when it's gone, I'm not going to be thinking about it at all. So
It's a way to do it.
That's a good way to
honestly.
do it, because then it's
my idea of it.
out of sight, out of mind. But then
Yeah.
like the pairs that are on your mind, obviously, are the ones that you want to keep. So that makes sense.
And something, too, I try to do with it's tricky because you get people that are your same size, but, like, I wish you were.
Oh, I know.
Because you try to get stuff to friends and family. Like my dad, I've been getting him some shoes, and he's not a shoe guy at all. But like, try to hook up friends and stuff that are the same size. So,
Dude, that's how I am. I have, like, my girlfriend's brother, my best friend, we're all the same size. Every time one of them comes over, I'm just like,
Here you go.
you'd really like these. And they're like, oh, yeah. Then I'm just like, cool. Here's a new pair of basketball shoes.
Yeah.
Here's some,
It's
like,
fun
New
doing
Balance
that.
that you probably like.
Yeah.
Here's some random Adidas. And I'm like, that's more fun to me than, like, selling them. Because then I see them.
You see
and
someone
they're
get
actually
excited
wearing
about
them,
it. Yeah.
And I'm like,
you put good out, you get good back in, too. It's that
100%.
good karma.
it's
100%.
fun, dude.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about sneakers is, like, I feel like if you're, like, engaging with people and engaging in the community, like, it comes back full circle to you. And, like, and I feel like that's an aspect in today's sneaker landscape that often gets overlooked, because you know, in the content space, like we all create content, it can get competitive sometimes. You're like, oh, why are they being successful? Why I'm not being successful? A lot of imposter syndrome with like your content and with like where you're at. But like, if you can put all that aside and just be like, you know what, they have similar interests that I do, and we all like sneakers, and sneakers have been around for a while. These companies are still paying a bunch of people to do stuff. Like, there's plenty of seats at the table. We can all eat.
There's plenty to go around. I talk about that all the time.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and that's why
and everyone's time, like, it's in cycles.
Yeah,
we all get.
We do, and it's
little
cool.
Boost here, little boost there,
and it's cool to see people that you know like get some of those gigs, right? Like if you can just remove the pettiness from your heart, like I don't know, that sounds weird, but like people are so petty when you see some. Like I've had people in the comments like, "Oh, that's so stupid that you got those and I didn't." It's like, okay, like
you're gonna get something that I won't.
Yeah, it's just like that's just
fine,
the way
dude.
It goes. Like celebrate other people's victories, and like again, like Charlie was saying, like you get back what you put in, and like if you're gonna be a petty person, you're not gonna enjoy what you're doing for very long.
One question to wrap it up. What do you think is going to happen to the sneaker game in the next 6 months to a year? What trends? What do you think is going to be popping in? What's going to be popping out? And your personal interests?
Sneakers is in a weird space right now, and I don't think it's necessarily like weird. It's just shifted because we had the COVID bubble, right, where everybody was getting everything and everything was like stupid high. Everybody was a reseller, and everything sold. And it was really hard to get sneakers. And then pre-pandemic, you know, people always say that that's the golden age, which it was cool. There was still hype stuff that would sell out, that would resell. There would be lineups at places. You'd still have some online stuff. I feel like now we're kind of approaching like the modern golden age of sneakers, if you will, because things are majority online. Still.
99% of the companies that don't do it online are like unique now.
Yeah, and I mean you still have the in-store activations, and you still have some in-person experiences that are super dope. So I think it's cool to see things kind of stabilize a little bit, but kind of where I think things are going is you have the juggernaut of Nike and Jordan brand, and people are getting fed up with the price raising and the quality of the product that's coming out for the cost. Yeah. And people are venturing elsewhere to, like, you know, the brands we're wearing on foot, or
and
even
it's just
like
release fatigue as well.
It is
it's too much.
They're just cranking out. It's like
much.
We don't need 5 GR dunks in
quality over
1
quantity.
Week. Yeah. And so I feel like this is a good thing for Nike, because I'm like, Jordan brand is what got me into sneakers.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this is a good thing to hopefully encourage them to kind of go back and kind of look at their core values and what they want to put out into the sneaker space, and hopefully that comes out with some good products. I mean, we know more about 2025 than we do the rest of this year, so we'll see what happens.
That's true.
Next 6 months, I'm hoping to see maybe some, like, you know, fresh up and coming collaborations,
new names, new brands.
Yeah, new names, new brands, new stories to tell.
Facts.
I think the big highlight is the Bike Airs so far.
Very excited about those.
Cool activate.
Story of the year? What else has been, like, really, really good?
The Earls Asics. Those are still one of my, like... So, like,
top 5 for me so far.
Yeah, I'm, like, reading up on the story about...
I haven't done that at all.
That boutique and, like, his story behind, like, the start of the boutique, and then... He's from, like, New Zealand or Australia. I can't remember. I'm sorry. But just, like, the details and the materials that he's paying tribute to his people and, like, the culture of his people. Like,
I didn't even know that. I just thought the design was really cool.
So did I. And then I read up on it. I'm like, holy crap. Like,
you got to get
this
a
is
pair.
a
I've been
beautiful
telling you.
story.
I know.
So,
I know.
Louis Brown, I think, is the owner of Earls. Like, read up on him. I think it was Complex or, like, Hypebeast that did, like, a write-up on him about his story of his boutique and his interest in fashion and all this stuff, and, like, super inspiring story and super inspiring collaboration. So read up on that story. It's, like,
that's interesting.
Beautiful story.
Yeah, we got to come back in, like, a few weeks and do, like, deep dive into, like, sneaker stories of the year.
That would be
and, like,
cool.
kind of rank those.
That would be a cool.
Because that I feel like is more interesting than, like, sneaker of the year is this.
It's like, oh, that looks cool.
You know what I mean?
Because like the A1's like sneaker of the year because it's hit all assets of it. Like
Right.
there's other shoes that have done that are not as much on the radar
That
as
never
that top
get
10
like
list.
the actual.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Limelight. Like,
That'd be
that
cool.
would be
That'd be
fascinating.
I think we
cool
gotta
episode.
get you back on for that.
I'm down, guys. You
All
already know.
Book it. Book it soon.
Yes, we will
But-
get that. Well,
Yeah,
sweet.
dude. That's pretty much it.
It's getting
Yeah.
dark out. We
We're
got
all
people
tired,
cleaning
dude.
up out here. So
We're all tired. I'm
This-
beat.
This white noise fountain behind me is putting me like I'm starting to like.
yeah, we'll
doze off
see
a
how
little
this
bit
shows
here.
up on the audio. I think it'll be good, but cool backdrop if you're on the YouTube. Shout out to everyone watching too. We're
Yes.
hitting some good numbers on YouTube, which
It's
has been
crazy.
fun. So
Such a blessing. Y'all have been
Yes.
amazing. Hopefully, monetize now.
yes, we're getting
Probably.
close.
We're like right there. We're like right there. That's
Exactly.
nuts. Also, shout out to everyone who DM'd me from this last episode. I got so many DMs that were just like, "Finish the episode. we gave you the hour.
Give you the
I was
hour
like,
of
"Let's go."
monetization. We shot
On the
it
last
out in the
episode,
last
I was like,
episode.
"Yeah, we're like 700 hours away. We're like right there." Now I'm sure there. I
we
have
can
to
buy
check.
some new mics or a third mic, I guess.
It's been busy, but nah. Shout out to y'all. Mad
Hit the outro.
appreciation. What's the outro? I don't even know. I need an outro.
Thanks for
button.
listening. Let us know if you like the live episode. If we should have good friend Andy on here more.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, it's been, we're all tired and hungry.
Thank you for listening and watching.
Peace.
Peace.
Love it, dude. That was fun.
That was fun.
That was perfect because my computer's at 14%.